Cayman Voices was a dream that I had for several years now. It's about taking the power of storytelling to embrace our own collective history as a people. Through our individual stories, we're able to see the common thread that binds us together as one. One person's personal journey has become our collective culture, heritage, and history. This series will show people from all walks of life sitting down with me as the host and going through their life journey. Sometimes there are unknown elements of their lives, but ultimately we're going to walk away having learned something new with every person that we sit down with. I guess I would explain it as an exploration of our story. I'm naturally curious about people and their lives, so Cayman Voices is exciting and allows me to capture this for everyone to enjoy. We are seeking out Caymanians, multi-generational, as well as some who have moved here to, uproot their entire lives and to make this their home. This dream would not be possible without some sponsorship, and so I'd like to thank the DART organization for stepping up to the plate to ensure that we're able to deliver regular monthly content for our viewers to enjoy. So sit back, kick up your feet, turn up the radio, relax, and listen to Cayman Voices. So we are doing another Cayman Voices segment, folks. I have been trying to track down this very busy 93-year-old?
No.
92.
No, headed for that, 91 and a half.
91 and a half year old
Yeah.
for the past couple years. He is so busy. So good afternoon, Mr. Rutty. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your schedule to speak with us. I must tell you that this is an interview that I'm very, very excited to do, because I feel like you're just such a fabric of, who we are as Caymanians.
Well, I've been around for a few years.
Yes, that's for sure. So let's take we like to roll it back a little bit and talk about, who your parents were and where they came from, and a little bit of your own family history.
Well, my father was Aston Rutty, who was the district administrator of Cayman Brac and Little Cayman for about 46 years.
Wow.
Of course, he came from Cayman Brac.
Yes.
My mother was Ruth Marin, formerly of the Marin family of Georgetown. And they were married in 1930, and I was born in 1932.
Right. Wow. So your dad is the famous Ashton Rutty that we know from Ashley Rutty Center.
That's right, yeah.
And I think that street as well is named after him in Cayman Brac.
Yeah.
So
I think my father was the first Caymanian that received an MBE from King George.
wow. That's amazing.
After the 1932 hurricane, he put Cayman Brac back together, and he was honored by the king for his efforts in doing that.
Beautiful. So you were born in 1932?
Two, yeah.
So that was the year of the 32 storm?
I was 8 months old.
Wow. And was your family in the Brac at that time?
Oh yes, my father were in the Brac, and my father didn't have any meteorological stations like you do now. He had a barometer, and he went from one end of the Cayman Brac to the other, telling people, take shelter, this is a hurricane coming. Oh no, Mr. Rutty, it's a northwester. He says the barometer does not go down for a northwester. It's a hurricane coming. See, it was in November, which is late for a hurricane. And he asked people to leave the shoreline and go inland. Some people did, some didn't. Well, 10% of the population was killed.
Wow.
We survived in a cave.
You guys went in
At
a
Snake
cave?
Bay, in a cave. My father took my mother and me in the cave.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
2 days, 3 nights.
Wow. That must have been something. But at 8 months old, you don't necessarily remember it, but you heard a lot of stories growing up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What a
There were 3 couples with babies in there. And we had to share a nurse bottle. The 3 mothers shared a nurse bottle for us 3 boys. Right. Colonel, who was our late Speaker of the House, Mr. Vinton Rich, who was a cousin of both mine and Mabry's, and myself.
Wow. That is something. So you grew up then spending your childhood on Cayman Brac?
Until the age of 12.
Until the age of 12, okay.
And unfortunately, my father was able to send me to, it was called College, Jamaica College.
Yes.
In Kingston, Jamaica. I was there for 6 years.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Brac up until the age of 12. What memories do you have of that time? What was it like?
Well, I went to it was a local school. We had forms, Form 1 to Form 12. And at accomplishing Form 12, you were finished with education at Cayman Brac. That's as far as you went.
Wow.
Which was an average of about 14 years. 14,
Yes.
15 years was the age.
Okay.
I left at the age of 12 and went to Jamaica.
And did you had other siblings as well, or?
Well, I've got a sister, Patricia Cockernall,
Yes.
that was married to the late Captain Ella Cockernall.
Yes. And how old is she? Older than you, or is she younger?
No, Pat is 2 years younger.
2 years younger than
Exactly, 2 years
you.
younger.
Yes. Okay. And so, what was life like for children back then on the Brac? What did you guys, other than school?
Other than school, the activity was, we used to play volleyball.
Oh, okay.
And I would go mainly the water in the beach and see the side in the afternoons.
Yes.
I did fishing and set a fish pot. My activity was the sea, you know. I had a fish pot. I had a little skiff my father built for me. Just go out and catch fish.
Yes. Okay. And all of that time then your dad was the district administrator, you said, for Cayman Brac.
Yes.
And your mom, I'm sure, would have been probably just a housewife and took care of the kids.
Yes.
Yes. Right. Beautiful. All right. So then at age 12, he sends you to Jamaica College,
Yes.
it's called? And where in Jamaica is that?
It's up at, it's in St. Andrew, of course. It's up in the Hope Gardens, the Hope area. I think it's really called Bono. The Bono area.
Yes. Okay. All right. And what were you studying? You said you were there for 6 years.
It was just regular, it was Jamaica College. It was run by Cambridge University. It was a
Okay.
Cambridge University.
Yes. Okay. And did you study anything specific or more general studies?
It was general. It was
General
general.
studies. Okay. All right. So what happened then after you completed your time at King's College there?
After I graduated, I came to Grand Cayman. There
Yes.
was nothing to do in Cayman Brac, really. And I went to sea and worked on a banana ship that was owned by my mother's family, the Marians, the Bismarck.
Yes.
And the late Captain Theo Bond was the captain, and I sailed on the ship for 3.5 years. Then I went to college in the States. Then I came back here in 1957 as a hotel manager, ran the Padge Beach Hotel for 6 years.
Let me talk a little bit about your time at sea. You didn't spend as much time. I've spoken to some seamen, they spent their entire, sort of adult lives almost at sea, but you didn't do that. Why do you think, is it just because you had other career options where you didn't have to spend all this time at sea, you could go on to university?
But actually, my goal was to go to the University of Florida.
Okay.
But I needed to have some money.
Yes.
And I figured if I went to sea for a few years, I'd make some money, which I did.
Yes.
And I got money, I went to college.
Okay, so you paid for yourself to go through college?
Yes, I did.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And where did you sail to when you were out at sea? What
Well,
ports?
mainly, of course, American seaports. We went to Costa Rica, Honduras, Guatemala, Dominican Republic, Colombia, Panama, and Ecuador many times. I went to Gulf ports like New Orleans, Mobile, Alabama, Brownsville, Texas, Miami, Tampa, Jacksonville, as far north as Norfolk, Virginia.
Right. And what sort of boat, what was on the boat? What were they transporting then?
These were bananas.
Ah.
It was a banana ship.
This was a banana
Yes,
ship.
ma'am.
Okay, very interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Right. So you made a little bit of money, and you still had this dream to go to University of Florida?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and so you went to the University of Florida. What was that like?
I loved it. I liked
Yeah.
it very much. I made a lot of friends there.
Yeah.
And it certainly enlightened my view, you know, associated with American boys from good families. And I've made some wonderful friends, which I still have.
Yes. And you studied then, what was your field of study?
I studied hotel management.
Hotel management. Okay.
It was actually called hospitality management.
Hospitality management. Right. And then after you completed that, you came back then and...
Yes. My mother's family, the Marians, owned the Pageant Beach Hotel, which was practically new. I came back and I ran that for 6 years as manager. And then I got involved in politics and got elected for Cayman, Little Cayman.
Wow. All right. So let's talk about the Pageant Beach years. You said it was a new hotel when you started.
Yes, it was a couple of years old.
A couple of years old. Okay. And this would have been the early days of tourism?
Yes.
What years would we be talking about?
57. I was there 57 through 63.
Okay. All right. And what was the tourism product like back in those days?
It was confined to the winter time.
Yes.
Winter tourists only. Summer was nothing.
Yeah.
But I think there were 3 hotels at the time. There was a Seaview Hotel, which had, I think, like about maybe 15 rooms.
Right.
Pageant Beach, 20. And the Gallia Beach, about 25 maybe. That was all there was for the first few years. Then the Beach Club colony came in, and of course, then after that you had some other hotels that came in.
Right. Okay.
But tourism was less than 200 tourists at a time
Wow.
back in those days.
It was very seasonal.
And there were hardly any restaurants, really.
Yeah. And what did tourists enjoy doing when they came back then?
Oh, the North Sound trips were the main thing. The North Sound trips.
Okay. All right.
And that's when the sandbar with the stingrays got developed.
Yeah. So just the water.
Just the water.
Diving.
Water and the beaches.
Yes.
The beaches, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Lovely. So what made you decide to go from hospitality management, working in a family business, into politics?
Well, my good friend, the late Mr. Willie Farrington, asked me if I would run for Cayman.
Okay.
Because of my father's connections there, and by having grown up in a family that was involved in government affairs. Although he was a civil servant, I mean, he was still at that time he was still a member of the vestry. That's before you had parliamentarians. We were vestry men.
Yes.
And GPs and vestry men who ran your government.
Yes.
And
Okay.
I went over and I campaigned and I was elected. In fact, my brother-in-law, the late Captain Colonel, he ran for the National Democratic Party, and I ran for the Christian Democratic Party. We ran against each other.
Oh, wow.
But I stayed with him in his home.
Yes.
And at night, we would discuss what we talked about, what we would talk about. And we did the campaign against each other.
Yes. Family first.
Family first.
Yes. Yes.
We
Beautiful.
both were elected.
And you both were elected. So you and your brother-in-law served at the same time?
Yes, ma'am.
That is so amazing. Wow.
Then I was elected into cabinet.
Oh, wow.
At
So how
age-
many terms did you serve in
I
total?
served 2 terms.
Okay.
I resigned because Ellen and I were running the Kirk Plaza business. And business started to get so involved that both of us could not spend our time in politics.
Right.
And I served in cabinet, so I volunteered to drop out and give Ellen a chance to get into cabinet, but she did.
Okay.
So he served several years in cabinet after that.
Yes. Okay. Wow. All right. So you and your brother-in-law were involved. You said the Kirk business, that would be in town with all the retail stores. That
Yes, it was
getting
the old
started.
Kirk Plaza where the CIBC, First Bank of Caribbean exists now.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. That's
That-
how
that-
it kind
that
of got.
location.
That's how it got started.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. And of course, that whole business venture I mean, that's an amazing story all by itself of, starting that business and developing it over the years.
Well, when I was campaigning, Ellen said, Burns, she said, I'd like to move to Grand Cayman because I've got different agencies, and the business I've created here at Cayman Brack does not have the population to really afford it, to make it grow. Would you work with me if I came to Grand Cayman? I said, yes, I would. So we worked together for 14 years, then I went on my own.
Wow. Okay. So you essentially helped your brother-in-law build that business then?
Oh yes, I worked 14 years with him. He was sick quite a bit, and I had the responsibility of it all.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Very nice. Huh. And then you got the bug now of being a businessman. So you continued on that road.
Well, actually, the Cockernals, their fortune was made from shipping.
Right.
And they had a ship by the name of the Kirknell that they're going to sell. Well, Ellen told me about it, but I got the late Sonny Boy Bodden and the late Wilbur Thompson, who is Big Thompson's father, together. And the three of us bought the Kirknell from the Cockernals and renamed her the Cayman Transport. And we ran her from Jamaica to Cayman and down to Honduras.
Wow. Okay.
For 3 years. Then we started going to Miami. And the captain ran the ship ashore on the North Coast of Cuba.
Oh, no. Okay.
So I lost my ship.
And what sort of things were you transporting?
Everything, general cargo.
Yeah.
Jamaica was our country of supply back in those days. And cars and food stuff all came through Jamaica.
Right.
And then later on it started coming from Tampa. Stuff started coming from Tampa. But our main supply was out of Jamaica.
Right.
Building material,
cement,
things like that.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay. Huh. Very interesting. So for a minute there, you were in the shipping business for a little minute.
Yes, that was 3 years.
Yeah.
We did very well at it, but then, the riches turned to rags when we lost the ship.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. So then after that incident happened, what did you then decide to do?
Well, I got into the fast food business. Anytime my wife and I took our kids to Miami on a holiday, they all had to go to Burger King.
Yes.
They didn't want McDonald's or Wendy's or anything else.
I
don't think Wendy's existed in those days. It was McDonald's. And they always wanted to go to Burger King. And I decided to go into the food business and do a fast food restaurant. And I said, the kids like Burger King, I will do Burger King, which I've done for many years, 40 years actually.
Yes. So you started the Burger King business and ran that for 40 years in Cayman.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Started December 1932.
Oh, wow.
1982, sorry.
1982, right. Now, you mentioned your wife. Tell us a little bit about when did you get married? How did you meet your wife?
Well, she was my teenage sweetheart, I guess you'd say. I can't say high school because I went to school in Jamaica. She was going to school in the States.
Okay.
She was Celia Hines. She was the granddaughter of the late Captain Rail Bodden. And we got married in 1956 in Miami. Where I was going to college. And then she came down here with me in 57 when I graduated and lived with me, worked with me for a while. Then she went to the airline business of Mr. Norman Bodden. They did Laxa Airlines and then they did Cayman Airways. Then she started a travel agency.
Wow.
She was a great mother, great wife and a great mother. She died 23 or 24 years ago.
Wow. Yes. Okay. So you had a great family, wonderful children.
I'm very, very happy with my children, yes ma'am.
Yes, wonderful. All right. So,
in fact, I just had 2 days ago my 10th great-grandchild.
The 10th great-grandchild. Wow.
10th great-grandchild.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. So once you started Burger King in the early days, did you have people wondering, what is this Burger King? Caymanians, sometimes they're like, we're not so sure what this is. Or did they really just love it from day one?
They love it from one.
Yeah.
I tell you a little story for me. I applied for Burger King,
Yes.
and the director of franchising turned me down. He says, Cayman is not big enough to afford a Burger King. He said, we already had applicants. I knew who they were too. So when I have the location, it says, Cayman does not have a large population, but the economy in Cayman is strong and people got money. And so they got money to spend. Well, I've went around and battled there with him maybe for a couple of hours. And finally I said, well, Mr. Parker, if I don't get Burger King, I'm going to go and check on Wendy's. Wendy's had just started. This was 1982 now.
Right.
And he changed his mind. He says, you're pretty persistent, aren't you? I said, yes, I am. I says, I have the location. And I said, I think Burger King will do very well. All right, he says, I'll give you a chance. So he sent the director of franchising down to investigate. And he sat in my office and looked at the traffic. At 12 o'clock, he put a hand on his shoulder and says, let's go have lunch. He says, you win. He said, there is enough traffic here for a Burger King. I opened it on the 23rd of December, 1982. And I had the official opening in mid-February, of which Sir Vassell Johnson cut the ribbon for me. He was the government official.
Yes. And this would be the one on the waterfront?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay.
That's all what I had
the first
then.
location. Yes.
And Mr. Parker came down, the gentleman who refused me at first. And during the ceremony, he pointed at me and says, that man made a liar out of me. He says, I told him that Cayman could not afford a Burger King, but I stand here this afternoon to tell you that all the Burger Kings in the world, all the BK 50s it's called, 50-seater, this restaurant has the highest sales.
Wow.
The global average was doing 800,000 a year, and that was a target for 2.4 million.
And this was when you first opened in the 80s?
Yes, ma'am, yeah.
Oh my
I was on
gosh.
target for 2.4.
Wow.
And the national average, the global average was 800,000 a year per restaurant of a BK 50,
Yes.
50-seater.
Wow. So what do you think the secret was?
Well, it was a good product.
Yes.
I had good management. I had a great location. So I had everything in my favor.
Beautiful. Yeah. Wow. Well, that's good. that's a great success story, for sure. So then you pretty much focused then for the next 40 years on your restaurant businesses.
Oh yes, I did Burger King. Then I did a second Burger King
Yes.
at 7 Mile Beach. Then I did Pizza Hut at 7 Mile Beach. Then I took a break from the hotel, from the restaurant, did a sleep-in hotel. And but I would like to talk a little bit about my political career, if I may.
Absolutely.
Go back a little bit.
Yes.
When I was elected in 1962, I was 30 years old, and I was voted into cabinet. I had a portfolio of social services, which was 23 subjects, including health and education. They were the two big ones.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it was during the 60s that we selected to become a crown colony,
Yes.
become under England instead of going to the
Right.
Federation, Jamaican
Right.
Federation. And Mr. Farrington, who was our leader, we were for becoming a British colony. And we won it, and that's how we're a British colony today. The second thing was, when we went to
Because Dr. Roy was instrumental in that as well.
well, Dr. Roy was towards you, but Dr. Roy was on the other side at first.
Oh.
He didn't quite realize that the others wanted to go with Jamaica and go independent.
Okay.
Yes, but we stood to remain a British colony. And another thing that I'm very proud we did, our monetary system, we tied to the U.S. system. We broke away from Jamaica and went to America.
So at the time, We had our own currency, but it was linked to Jamaica?
Yes,
or
ma'am. No, we had Jamaica. We were using Jamaica. We used English. It was the English system based on using Jamaica pounds, shillings, and pence.
Oh.
And then Jamaica went into the decimal system, into dollars, and we did that for a short while. But it was in the 60s.
Okay.
I think maybe around about 66 or 68 that we tied to the U.S. currency.
And why was that decision made? You just thought that economy...
Well, we just didn't trust what was happening in Jamaica, being an independent country, you know. We thought it best to tie to the States because our connections, we were so closely connected to America. We were buying stuff from the States, we were dealing with America, so let's use their currency.
I see.
Or at least tie to their currency anyhow.
Yeah.
Rather.
Yeah. And then the Cayman currency would have been developed around the same time then? Like our own currency was developed like around that same time?
That's our currency that we're talking about.
That's how it started?
Yeah, we tied to the U.S. dollar. In other words, the U.S. dollar goes up, we go up with them.
Yes.
You know?
Okay.
In other words, I think the Jamaican dollar is like 180 Jamaican dollars to one Cayman dollar. So if you had tied, say, to the Jamaica, our dollar would be worth 180 US now, or
right.
200 US.
Yeah, I see. And how was the decision made then, talking about the currency, how was the decision made to value the CI dollar more than the US dollar? Because I know a lot of Americans come here, they're confused.
Yeah. Because at that time, we were using pounds. It was 10 shillings, which is a half of a pound. So we split the pound in two and made a 10 shilling dollar. So in other words, a dollar, I came at, okay, Jamaican, maybe you should cut me off a minute.
Yeah.
The pound was then valued at $2.40 American. So we split the pound in two, which gave us $1.20 dollar. So our dollar was worth $1.20 US.
Ah, okay, I see.
Oh no. We think $1.20 US was one.
But the other way around.
Yeah, it was the other way around.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So that's so interesting. I've never heard that story told before.
Yeah, that's what happens, man.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So amazing. So you were an integral part of that as a representative of the people.
I was in the party that voted for it, man. Yes.
Yeah.
And I brought a bill before the House one time that to be a member of Parliament, we called it LA back in those days,
Right.
you had to be a Caymanian of birth.
Yes.
Or your father had to be a Caymanian by birth.
Yes.
Otherwise, anybody from any country could have run and got elected.
Yes.
We wanted to keep control of our country in the hands of Caymanians, and I hope it remains that way.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about political parties back in those days. You mentioned two.
Well, they didn't last. I
Yeah.
never was a party person, to be
Yeah.
honest with you, because I felt you're splitting the brains of your company in two, and instead of working together, you're working against each other. Like you see happening in the States right now, for example. That was always to remain non-party.
Yes.
But
in those early days, you still had, you mentioned the Christian Democratic Party?
Yeah, and the Republican Democratic.
Okay.
And the National Democratic.
The National Democratic
National
Party.
Democratic,
yes. So those are some early parties, systems here in the Cayman
Oh
Islands.
yes.
Yeah.
But they didn't last.
Yeah.
And then, of course, years after that, the party system sprung up again.
Yes. Do you remember who your opponent, like who some of your opponents might have been for Cayman Brac in those days?
Well, yes, and the second election, actually, the second election I was unopposed.
Oh.
But my opponent would have been my former running partner, Captain Keith Tibbetts.
Okay.
But I was unopposed, and so Captain Keith got in, and of course I was re-elected again.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's the only one I ever had to run against.
Yeah.
Oh no, the first time I ran against Mrs. Rich and Mrs. Rich Yeah, I ran against Mr. Richard, my brother-in-law. Captain Eldon.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So
right.
you actually ran against your brother-in-law the first time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He came in first, I came in second.
Okay.
Captain Keith came in third.
Very good. All right. So when you were a representative, how many elected officials did we have at the time?
We had 12.
There were 12. Okay. All right. So still quite a number. Tell us a little bit about what you guys had to work with in terms of a budget. You said you had a lot of education, health, a lot of infrastructure projects.
We had a very limited budget. I'll never forget, I think it was either my first or second year when we were doing the budget. We budgeted for £1 million. And we said, what are we doing to this country? £1 billion? Where is it going to come from? But you know, we worked it out that we did the budget, we had a surplus, it could be a few thousand pounds left over.
Yes.
But we had £1 million to work with.
Wow. And where was the majority of the revenue coming from in those days?
And, import duties.
Import duties.
Import duties, yeah.
Okay.
There wasn't many land sales back in those days.
Yeah, yeah. And so over the years, then industries like tourism and finance developed.
Yeah, the finance hadn't started yet.
Hadn't started.
Our income was, there was a small head tax you paid, and import duty was the main thing. Yes,
that was the main thing.
Yeah. We did £1 million.
Wow, so that was quite a landmark to reach.
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, very good. So as you started to, develop more in business, you had your family here. Did you maintain the connections to the BRAC at all, or?
Yes. Not as much as I did back then,
Yeah.
But once a BRACer, always a BRACer.
Always a BRACer. Yeah.
I'm very happy my children love the BRAC.
Yes.
In fact, the family home was owned by my sister. We kept it, the family. My sister bought it, Julie Kick. Hislop, and my son Gary, he's got a home there. And I'm doing quite a large land development on the BRAC.
Yes. Beautiful.
So I've still got my interest there.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. So what has been, I see you have a lot of model ships and boats around here. You've got some Cuban art.
Yeah.
I mean, what are your hobbies? What is it that you enjoy?
Well, actually, most of my hobbies do with the water. Bob Stoller and I started scuba diving in Grand Cayman in 1957 together. That was Bob Stoler's partner.
All right.
I didn't mention that earlier on. I forgot that.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
But
Now, somebody was telling me yesterday, tell me if you agree with this. I was talking to some Caymanians, and they said, Bob Soto's first wife, I can't remember.
Elena.
Yes. They said that she really was a lot of the brains behind the operations because she saw the vision of what kind of needed to happen.
Yes. Well, Bob and I are in business together, but there was only enough money in it in the winter time for one person. So his wife asked me if I would sell it to Bob and let him have it himself, which I did.
Okay.
But actually, Bob and I were in business for a couple of years together.
Okay, right. So the two of you started as partners, and then he did a solo endeavor.
Yeah. Oh. And then I was involved in the liveaboard boats, the Cayman Aggressor fleet. I was in that for about 30 years. Wow. And I came out of that, sold out of that. So I've been very involved in water sports. But I love to go fishing. I love the water sports.
Yes.
And I travel a lot. I love to travel.
Yes, yeah. Even now you travel a lot. It's hard to pin you down sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I spend my summers in New York.
Yeah. Okay.
I go up in June, come back in October.
Okay. Very nice.
That's why my house is all barred up now.
Yeah.
I'm not taking it out until after the season is over.
You come back just in time then for the Cayman cool December.
That's right, yeah.
The little winter breeze.
I'm a sunbird in the summer and a snowbird in the winter.
Yes. That's lovely. So what's in New York? You've got a home there also, and you just...
Well, my late fiancée, Linda Palmer, she died 2 years ago. She has a home there on Lake Eastern Shores of Lake Oneida, which is the largest lake in New York State.
Okay.
And it's called the Thumb of the Finger Lakes, actually. And we enjoyed our summers. Of course, we traveled a lot, stateside, and we go across to Europe, and sometimes we go down to New Zealand, Australia, Hawaii.
Yeah.
We traveled a lot in the summer.
Yeah. In your travels, what has been perhaps the most interesting place that you've been to?
Well, I tell you what, I like Southern England very much.
Right.
And I love New Zealand. I go to New Zealand every year. It wasn't so far away, but at my age, a 15-hour flight is...
Yes, that's a lot.
Is not my cup of tea anymore.
Yes, yeah. What is it about England that you think, Southern England?
I just like the atmosphere there, the climate. Of course, it was the summer that I went there, not in the winter. It was nice, the weather was nice, it was picturesque, and the people were very nice, and we liked it very much.
Yeah, okay, beautiful.
I also liked Northern Ireland too.
Oh, nice.
I enjoyed Northern Ireland.
Beautiful. So, Mr. Rutty, how many children do you have? You've got...
Well, I didn't mention I had a marriage at the age of 20, which didn't last very long.
Okay.
I had a son of that marriage over in Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
And he lives in Lakeland, and he has 2 daughters. And each daughter has 2 children now.
Okay.
And then my second marriage,
Beautiful.
3.
3.
Terry, Judy, Gary, 3, I'm sorry, 3, yeah.
Okay. Yes, all right. And
I've got 5 children total.
Yeah.
No, 6 children. No.
No.
I got 4 children.
4 children, yes.
10 grandchildren, and now I think it's either 10 or 11 great-grandchildren.
Great-grandchildren, right, okay. So Gary, your son here in Grand Cayman, he's kind of been your right hand in business.
Oh,
and,
yes. He's on a since he came back, I can enjoy life.
Yeah.
Since he came out of college. He went to the University of Florida, same as I did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you're big UF fans then?
Well, my grandson, Gannon, he got his master's there. Where was I?
All right, University of Florida.
I went to Florida. My son Gary went to school in Gainesville at anyway, it was like a part of Florida, University of Florida. My grandson, I just said my grandson, he got his master's there, and my granddaughter is her senior year there now.
Wow. So
I am a Florida fan.
Yes. So you should have a building at this point named after you at University of Florida, after multiple generations having gone there. Oh my goodness. So of course you're a big Gator fan then.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Wonderful. So we were talking about some of your hobbies and the things that you enjoy. You mentioned anything to do with the water, fishing. What else do you enjoy doing in your spare time?
Well, I don't know. I just like to socialize.
Yes.
I like to meet people.
Okay.
And
yeah.
Be Cayman kind to them.
Yes. That's beautiful.
But of course, in boarding school, I was very active in sports.
Yes. Okay. You played, you mentioned volleyball, which I thought was kind of interesting.
That was Cayman Brackets kids.
To have volleyball that long ago. But what other sports do you enjoy?
Well, in Jamaica, I was captain of the swimming team.
Okay.
I was a champion swimmer in Jamaica. I played for the school. I played hockey, field hockey. I did cross country. I did some boxing.
Oh, wow.
But my main sport was swimming, really.
Yes.
And I was the school champion cross country runner for 6 years, both the junior and senior league.
Okay.
So I was very active in sports in college.
Yes.
It was actually boarding school in Jamaica. They call it college.
Wow, that's fantastic. All right. Now you've seen a lot of changes in Cayman. I imagine when you were first born, there probably wasn't much in the way of streets and cars and all these things.
No. We had the Mall Road.
Yeah, there was a little mall road then.
Little Mall Road. And I knew every car on the island.
Uh-huh.
It was good, maybe 20 cars
Wow.
on the island.
I had somebody else, you know, Mr. Wellington from West Bay. He was telling me that at the time they had like one car in West Bay, one or two cars,
Yeah.
and they could tell the difference because how the car honked, the horn.
That's right, yeah. And even the sound of the engine, you could tell the difference.
Yeah.
And Cayman Braca could.
Wow.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
amazing.
Cayman Braca was about 6 cars. Grand Cayman was about 20. I'm talking about my early
In the early days,
early
yes.
days.
Yeah. And when you were an elected member, right, what were some of the issues back in those days that you guys are most concerned about?
Well, it was getting the airport. One of the issues was finishing the West Bay Road, the airport, of course, school, extended schools, and the hospital, upgrading the hospital.
Right. So a lot of infrastructural development.
Yes, ma'am, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. And now, you know, all these years later, you've looked at the changes that we've had, some good, some maybe not so good. You know, what do you think of where we are now?
Well, I think we've almost reached the peak of the amount of people that should be on the island. I think 100,000 is going to be pretty much what we can handle
Yes.
comfortably and safely.
Yeah. Yeah. So slow down the growth a little bit.
I think we should.
Yeah.
Definitely no more cars.
No more
Or
cars.
get rid of some of these old ones first.
Yes.
It's actually a disgrace to drive around and see people's yards, all these junk cars in it.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Trust me, we've been talking about it a lot. The litter and the derelict
Oh, yeah.
vehicles and
Another thing that concerns me is the litter on the side of the streets. I don't know. I hope it's not our local Caymanians doing it, but we have to contend with it anyhow.
absolutely. All right. So as you reflect back on your life, you've accomplished so much. But if I had to ask you to pick out maybe what are you the most proud of? And it could be anything. What would you say?
Well, I'm very proud of raising my children and seeing them accomplish what they've accomplished. Gary's worked very closely with me. In fact, a lot of my expansion in recent years has been his foresight. He's seen things to do and brought it to me, my attention. I've approved of it. But I think one of the best things that we've done was the Comfort Suites Hotel.
Yes, okay. We didn't talk much about that. So you already kind of had the hotel bug in you from working in your parents' property and then studying hospitality management.
Right.
But you saw the need for an additional property.
I saw the need for a medium price hotel.
Right.
'Cause everybody's aiming for the Ritz-Carltons or the high level. Somebody needed to more or less of the middle income bracket.
Yes.
Mr. Comfort Suites. So is the Sleep Inn too. It's Sleep Inn, Comfort Suites, especially.
Yeah. And you've had a lot of foresight, I think, when it came to business. Even when you were saying, you were thinking, oh, you know, Burger King would do well in the Cayman Islands, when other people overseas are like, no, that isn't going to do well. What do you attribute having that sort of business acumen to? Do you think your dad passed on maybe some of his skills
Yes,
too?
been working for 40 years with my late brother-in-law, Captain Uncle Colonel. He was a mentor.
He was a mentor.
And my late uncle, Captain Theo Bodden, whom I sailed with for 3.5 years on the Bispo.
Yes.
He was a mentor.
Yep. So you just had really good
Yes, ma'am.
examples,
I
men
did.
in your life to see how they were successful.
I certainly did.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you, ma'am.
Yes. I hope it wasn't too much bother for you to share a little bit of your story with us. I certainly enjoyed it.
Well, it's been my pleasure.
Yes.
Wish his voice is a bit better, but
yeah,
I have a
that's
touch
okay.
of laryngitis right now.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Now, I want to ask you a personal question because you mentioned that you knew my dad. So, of course, he's no longer with us.
Yes.
He passed away a while ago. Tell me something about him that you think I might find interesting.
Well, we were in the same business for a while. I was in the laundromat business.
Okay.
And your dad had that, it was like a sideline for him, wasn't it?
Yeah. He had a little laundry and a little garage there.
Yeah, that garage, that's right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So you knew him then.
Yeah, we were friendly competitors. I mean, different area. He was South Georgetown, I was North Georgetown.
Right.
Of course, I was at East End, North Side, Bodden Down, and down the beach in condominiums too.
Yes. Okay, very good. All right, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
I was very fond of your dad, by the way.
Thank you.
We had a good relationship.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Well, thank you for the
Thank
time.
you too, man.
And I know that our audience are going to absolutely enjoy this interview. I appreciate you taking
I hope
the
you
time.
can understand me all right.
Oh, yeah, no worries there. All right, my dear, thank you.
Thank you. No.
Go ahead.
One of the first things I noticed when I came back to the hotel was that the North Sound trips, the guests always came back, what a nice trip, but boy, the boats need upgrading. So I ordered a boat through my wife's grandfather, Captain Rail Bond. He had the agency for Chris Craft and for Johnson Outboard Motors. I ordered a boat and a motor. It was a kit to be put together down here. And Bob Soto came back from sea and came to see me and says, Burns, I'd like to go in the boating business. Would you recommend me? I says, Bob, I have a boat coming anytime now, almost like next week. He said, would you like a partner? I said, yes, I would. So I brought Bob in as my partner, and we built the boat. It was named the Salida after our wives. We had the first Golden Javelin electric start engine there was, and we ran that boat for quite a while.
Wow. Truly amazing. Beautiful. Very good. Okay.
This is my good friend, the late Captain Charles Colonel. This is a picture of my family at a convention in Las Vegas. Oh, this was the cave that I survived in 1932 in.
This was the actual cave.
That's the actual cave. That's
wow.
I took my grandchildren there.
Oh my. Wow.
This is a picture of Cindy Crawford. She couldn't come to my 70th birthday, so she sent me her picture.
She said, yeah.
Cindy Crawford.
And how do you know Cindy Crawford?
Well, I don't really know her, but
you know people that know her.
yeah, she was supposed to come.
Oh, beautiful.
This is me and my late fiancée, Marianne, the coach at the University of Florida. Urban Meyer.
Yes, beautiful.
This is Linda with Steve Forbes of Forbes 500.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This is Linda here with Sir Richard Branson from next door. This is the Five Musketeers, Bob Soto, Rudy Hines, me, Ken Hall, and Adrian Briggs. That was Linda when she was with Mary Kay. That was the chairman of Mary Kay, giving her an award. That was the Kirk Bell, the Cayman transport.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
The ship I had.
Very beautiful. Nice. Wow. Absolutely gorgeous. And then you've got some.
Yeah, that's Linda.
That's a beautiful picture.
That was Linda feeding the man of war at Tucker.
Ah, look at that.
That's what she read.
Yes,
that's Gary's
beautiful.
family there. That's my family there.
Absolutely gorgeous. Wow, so many good memories, right?
Yeah, sure do.
There are pictures of Cayman that we hold in our minds, and those impressions remain with us through the course of time. It's really a collection of the you know just what I mean. Like Luisito Heights making a fish tea, that's Cayman. Cassava cake and cold swanky, that's Cayman. A jopina drink and a beef patty, that's Cayman. And Herbie Martin, that belly, that's Cayman. Georgetown Harbor sleeping quietly on Sunday night. Captain Theo and Rex Crichton making Christmas bright. In Cayman Brack, the cocoa plum covers the ground like grass. And people you don't know at all wave hello as you pass. Country and western and dirty reeds, that's Cayman. Children sucking on a mango seed, that's Cayman. Nor'wester waves in Hogstye Bay, that's Cayman. Pirates Week, East End Day, that's Cayman. Mr. Howell shoe shop in the older part of town. Casuarina's leaning on the roadside in South Sound. To look out on the ocean and see various shades of blue. To walk the road at night and find nobody bothers you. Looking crabs with a little flashlight, that's Cayman. Nobody in town after 9 at night, that's Cayman. People in the airport know you by name, that's Cayman. At Rum Point before the Hyatt came, that's Cayman. A nation is a people living out the lives they choose, celebrating when they win, crying when they lose. And those who say Cayman is not a nation legally, it's very clear to me they missed the point entirely. Smelling jerk pork as you're driving by, that's Cayman. Christmas beef, button tonguefish fry, that's Cayman. Your car break down, you get a lift to town, that's Cayman. Sunday cricket, agriculture ground, that's Cayman. A downtown beach where children swim, that's Cayman. Mr. Jim, remember him, that's Cayman. Spots landing and Christmas breeze, that's Cayman. Miss Coney, macaroni and cheese,